I know for a fact that I shouldn't be here now. I shouldn't be here now with everything that I've done, you know, but I am.
I've been arrested 25 to 30 different times. You know, the longest time I've spent incarcerated was a year. Then I'd get out and just pick up right where I left off.
So it all started when I was 13, started running around with gangs in Anaheim, California.
You know, what started with the pill addiction from the time I was a teenager ended up being full-blown meth and heroin addiction later, you know, as it goes with most people.
Started driving for a cartel in TJ to California, to Anaheim and Santa Ana and LA County. And that's what I figured I needed to do.
Like, I was so depressed, so dark. Like, I had no relationships, stealing from each other, lying to each other, fighting with each other, whatever. As long as I could get the only thing in life that ever made me feel good, and that was drugs, then that's all I was there for.
And I felt like there was no hope for me. I was in it, and I was in it deep, and I couldn't, you know, dig myself back out.
The average TOSA student has been arrested 25 times prior to coming. If you incarcerated our students for the amount of time they were facing when they arrived, our entire house would be incarcerated for about 1,100 years. And so that was Plan A, to incarcerate them yet again. Plan B was to come to the Other Side Academy and try to learn to change your life. The Other Side Academy is a 2.5-year life skills program for some of the most broken among us. People who've been arrested an average of 25 times, many have struggled with drugs for decades, and many have lived homeless for long stretches as well. This is a free opportunity for them to come and join a community and figure out how to reinvent their lives.
I just came from basically being in a tiny little pod in jail with only 6 women for the last year. So I was so overwhelmed. And so the older students that were women and the staff members, the eye contact they had, the way they carried themselves, the way they showed up for me and was there to help guide me through, I remember just wanting that so bad. Yeah, I remember telling Tiffany, who was a staff member at the time, I remember telling her that I want what she has and what I just explained to you. And she told me, you can have it, you just stay. And I stayed.
The problem with the rehab industry is it's designed based on a funding model, not a therapeutic model. It's designed based on what the market can afford. If you've got somebody who's been shooting heroin for 20 years, the idea that going for 60 days to some residential program and then having a few outpatient touch points with somebody afterwards is going to change your life is just ludicrous on the face of it. This isn't that people in that industry are bad, it's that the model is bad. Our behavioral choices are a function of what we're motivated and able to do. Unless you're both motivated and able to do something, you won't do it. But there are 3 different things that affect whether we're motivated and able to do something. Things at the personal level, social level, and structural level. At the personal level, it's things inside of Joseph that affect whether I want to and whether I can do a particular behavior. At the social level, it's the people around me and how they affect whether I want to and whether I can. At the structural level, it's all the non-human things that affect whether I want to or whether I can. It's costs and consequences, the motivational side. It's also the physical environment and virtual environments I inhabit and how those affect whether I want to and whether I can. Taken together, those 6 forces are what cause us to behave the way we behave. The bench is a personal motivation strategy. The reason we have a bench is so that you frame your participation at the Other Side Academy as, I got in here, I applied here, I want to be here, rather than a judge sent me, I'm court ordered, I have to do this to beat a sentence.
I sat there for about, I say close to 6 to 7 hours. It was a Friday, and I'm looking at everybody just kind of move around and just everything that's going on. That just struck me, and I'm like, okay, I like this. And that's where it also started just building and building up, I need this.
If at any time you're not doing the process right, or you have secrets, or you're just not doing what's asked of you, they'll sit you on the bench and give you time to clean up your conscience. So I've sat on the bench a few times throughout my stay, and those sits on the bench have been long periods of time. Very long.
8 o'clock comes, we stay busy. We got a bunch of new guys coming in and stuff like that, and we want to be the example, right? They're going to be looking at us and stuff, right? If we're not staying busy, they're not going to want to stay busy. Pull each other up. I mean, let's be that example.
So the Other Side Academy today has 4 different social enterprises. The first is a moving company. That was our foundational social enterprises. The #1 rated moving company in the entire state, run by a bunch of felons.
Every day is a push. Every day is striving to be someone better, and given this opportunity by the Other Side Academy to become a mover and be able to give back to the house. My main motive is that I go out there and I work my tail off along with my brothers. We push each other, whether if it's a 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning move, carrying heavy furniture up the stairs, down the stairs. My main thing is that I go to work every morning to make it about those individuals that are needing the help, that were in my position before, that are either incarcerated, that are either in jail, homeless, lost their way for whatever reason. Don't mind to not get paid. I get paid with getting my life back together and making it about them, because people that were here before me did the same thing, and I'm just paying it forward.
This is a clean house. This is a house that is orderly and neat. What we say is dirty bed, dirty head. If you're in a place that's disorderly, your behavior tends to follow. Being in an environment that's impeccably clean, where the pictures on the walls and the sayings and other things around you are uplifting and encouraging, changes your attitude, changes your morale, changes your thought process. The structural environment that you're in is profoundly important. Secondly, the fact that you're a little further from drugs than you were before makes a big difference. Sometimes all it takes is 100 yards, because drugs aren't far from this house. But just being a few walls away and a gate away from some of those bad choices makes an enormous difference. Propinquity is a powerful source of influence. Here you're closer to the good stuff and further from the bad stuff.
12 concepts that we have. That's the first thing that you see when you sit on the bench. And the reason why they have that there is for you to constantly be reading them over and over and over. And one of them is each one teach one, right? The other one's like, you alone can do it, but you can't do it alone. Like I felt all my life I could do this on my own, you know? I don't need anybody else. I plan to continue using that no matter where life takes me. I know I can use them in my own certain way, and I will.
The Other Side Academy is first and foremost a social influence strategy. You're in a home surrounded by people that were just like you a week ago, a month ago, a year ago, or 10 years ago.
When everybody around you is doing the right thing, it's kind of hard to be the same person I've always been, like manipulative and like dishonest and like all the things that led me to the life I had. Because the thing is people will call you out if you're being lazy. People will call you out if you're dishonest in a situation or if you're manipulative. About a year into it, my behaviors just started to show. I think I had been here 15 months when I finally understood what it felt like to have no secrets. None whatsoever. They know every single thing about me.
When I see miracles like Art and Felicia, when I see them on the bench when they arrive, so broken and battered that they're almost completely hopeless, and then see them a few years later, recognized in our community, respected, and carrying themselves in a way they could have never imagined before. One of the greatest messages that the Other Side Academy offers to the rest of the world is that those who you thought that you had labeled permanently as unchangeable, incorrigible, intractable, you're probably wrong. We've worked in healthcare organizations where the nurses say it about the doctors about the nurses. We've worked in international disputes where one country or ethnicity is saying about another that this is just who they are. Well, it turns out that that's absolute garbage. People change. People can change. And the Other Side Academy is high volume evidence that the rest of the world ought to hear, that when you get the sources of influence supporting you in creating the change that you most want, change is possible, even with people that might have been stuck in habits of self-destructive behavior for decades.
If you're really wanting to change and you want something different for yourself, Tosa saved my life, so gotta give yourself a chance.
In the mornings, I think about, how far I've come, and that I can't let anything get in my way at this point. There's no going back for me, and I know that.